Dabo Swinney supported the call that lost the game versus Florida State in overtime. Why is this a bad look on Dabo Swinney? I'll tell you next on the Locked On Clemson Podcast.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Clemson family? Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson Podcast, your daily podcast covering your Clemson Tigers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on Twitter at DP_NFL. I am the founder of the Scouting Room, National Scout over with the Draft Network, as well as the co-host, part of the co-host team of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. Guys, happy Monday. Thank y'all for tapping in with me and making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every day. Shout out to you guys, and thank you for being my everydayers. Guys, we have a show kind of reacting again after allowing the weekend to go through, allowing the emotions to settle, reacting to the week 4 close loss in overtime to Florida State. Head coach Dabo Swinney in the media asked about it. He backed the call. He backed the call that we all know was a bad call that lost the game in overtime. So we're going to talk about that and why it's not a good look for the head ball coach. His comments on basically kind of conceding that the ACC is not Clemson's this year. And everything. So we can get into that. And then sticking with the kicker that missed the game-winning field goal in regulation. So let's get into all of that. Before we do, guys, got to give a quick shout-out to LinkedIn Jobs. Today's episode of Locked On Clemson has been brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. Head ball coach Dabo Swinney decided to back the call. The call we all questioned, the call we all knew as it unfolded was a bad look. And I can tell you now, guys, I watched the film came through this morning. I told you, not this morning, yesterday morning. It came through on Sunday. But I told you guys, Saturday right after the game, I was going to get the film, and I watched it. And I went. One of the first things I did, I went to that final play. I went to that play, and let's read the quote first, right? And one of the quotes he said, it really wasn't playing for the field goal. Garrett really thought that the play was going to pop. They were bringing the blitz, and we really thought it was good. It was a great call. He thought it was going to pop. They made a good play and got off the block. I don't have a problem with the call. We thought it was going to hit, especially with what the call was for them defensively. It didn't work out, so you get to ask the question. I have no problem with how Garrett called the game, did a heck of a job, and gave us a chance to win the game. Now, Dabo, you can miss me with this. You can miss me with it, man. I'm not trying to hear this. Because I watched the play, okay? And then you watch the play, the offensive line won the line of scrimmage. Point blank, the offensive line won the line of scrimmage. You understand what I'm saying? So, Will Shipley, I think it was who was in the backfield, he would have gotten that, 6 inches, right? However much space it was in length to get to the first down and keep going, he would have gotten that. Instead, you called a pass, you called a run pass option, and you called a play that will result in you losing yards. There's no way you thought you truly thought, you hoped it would pop. You got greedy that it would pop, right? And then okay, boom, we score quickly. And the reason why, and I said this on the live stream on Saturday, right, over the weekend, someone said, well, Cade shouldn't have made the call. Cade shouldn't have been in that position to make the call. The reason why you don't put him in that position to make a call, he's young. He is young. Of course, what's the phrase that's popular now? Intrusive thoughts won. His intrusive thoughts won because if you put him in that position, he's thinking about going for the jugular. He wants to be aggressive because he's a young QB. That's a mistake a young QB typically would make. We can go with the safe route with the run, and it's 3rd and 1. It's 3rd and inches. It's not like it was 4th and inches, right? It was 3rd and inches. That's when, you know what I'm saying? I'm cool. Like, run it. Heck, run it both times. You know what I'm saying? Show the read option, hold that backside. Like, bro, as I'm talking family, as I'm talking to you, I'm getting frustrated because as an offensive minded person as I am, and someone that played running back, and when I evaluate talent and break down tape and schemes and stuff like that, there's no way you don't run and hold the mesh point and let Cade read on 3rd and 1 and let Cade read that backside defensive end. And if they crash, Cade pulls it, right? He takes it out of the mesh point, and then he gets the first down. He probably scores, right? But if he doesn't crash, if he's hesitant, boom, let Will Shipley run full speed into the back of the offensive line. That's not what you did. You went for the jugular, right? You went for a haymaker when you shouldn't have. Okay, take the body blow. You know what I mean? You say, okay, what are they trying to send pressure? Yeah, they walked some guys up for sure. But the offensive line collapsed. You know what I'm saying? They reset the line of scrimmage. They collapsed the D line. And I'm going to have that play broken down on the Patreon account. Okay? But I'm not trying to hear this quote that, they were blitzing. We thought we had the right call. And no, run the ball. Like, I'm telling you guys, it's not just a college thing. It's an NFL thing, too. These head coaches, people think they call them the smartest people in the world in this business and in this sport. And that's fine. But they will allow themselves they will outsmart themselves. There's no way you sit there and think something as simple as running up the gut doesn't work. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it just doesn't make sense. And yes, Garrett Riley did call it a pretty solid game, pretty good in terms of pass concepts. He got a little repetitive with some stuff, and that's consistent with him. It's been happening all season that he gets repetitive with stuff that works. He's like that kid playing. I said this Saturday, he's the kid playing Madden online, and GT counter works. I break 5 to 10 yards every time. Let's spam it, right? He's that guy that spams it. Okay, you know what I mean? He does that type of stuff. He tries to find those plays that work, and then just run them. And it's like, you do realize that the defense will eventually pick up on this, right? And stop those same plays. So yes, now what you could do is create off of that and stuff like that. But I don't see any of that, right? You can show GT counter and then backside, and then give the zone read look off of it and let Cade take it off the backside. I'm just saying, man, Dabo has to miss me with it, guys. I'm sorry. And for me, this is a bad look on him. Like, there's no need to protect anybody here. Okay, there's no need. The players did their job. You didn't. Dabo, you didn't. Garrett Riley, the players did their jobs. Yes. If Nate Wiggins doesn't get hurt, Keon Coleman doesn't catch that pass. They weren't successful on jump balls versus Nate Wiggins, I think, the entire game. So that's the point I'm making here, guys. It's the simple fact of the matter is this. You do not, in no way, shape, or form, you do not sit there. I'm so serious about this. You do not sit there and make this excuse of they were blitzing and you're trying to protect Garrett Riley. No, Garrett Riley's a grown man. Take them lumps, play caller, right? They had you on the list preseason as one of the future head coaches in the next cycle. Yeah, not anymore. Nah, you're going to have to stay in Clemson another year and prove that, right? Because there's no shot of that now. Like, it's just I don't like to hear it. I don't want to hear that. To be like, man, we thought the call was going to work. We thought it was going to work. No one wants to hear that you thought that play was going to work. No one wants to hear that. Run stuff that would work, running the ball, get downhill, man. It just does not make sense to me whatsoever. And I'm very disappointed in Dabo Swinney and the coaching staff, guys. But let's continue with some of the quotes he talked about. He has some comments about, hey, the ACC is just not Clemson's this year, right? Is that a message you want to send? It's only going to week 5. We're going to talk about how that's not a good look either. Coming up next on the Locked On Clemson podcast. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have the access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. Guys, LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster, and for free. It's super easy. Just create a free job post on LinkedIn Jobs, add the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools at your disposal, like screening questions, make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skill set and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and or hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Head coach Dabo Swinney basically conceded that 2023 is not the year that Clemson will reign in the ACC, and he said, when asked about the loss into Florida State post game, he said, "Oh man, it's just one day. It's hard to beat somebody 8 times in a row. They won today. They won the game. What does that mean? It means they go on and win the ACC this year. Here's the part that I don't like. We're not entitled to win the ACC every year. Give them credit. They've done a great job. I don't look at this as a referendum. I don't even know what that means. I don't look at it like that. I just think we lost the game. And to me, guys, that part where we're not entitled to the ACC every year. And I want you to understand something. I'm a realist. Nobody's entitled to anything. But you think Nick Saban walks into the SEC? You think Kirby Smart now walks into the SEC, into the season and not feel entitled like we're the best here, like no one should beat us? That's how you should feel. That's how your team should feel. That's how you should coach. Like, in my honest opinion, like, that's why I don't like this, because it's like, okay, like, miss me with the PR fluff and all that. No, forget all that. I need you to have this type of energy to say, no, this is disappointing, right? This is disappointing. The same way I talked about in the first segment. Instead of you just trying to be overly positive. For one thing, I'm a positive person. One thing I don't like is what I believe is false positivity. Don't give me fluff, okay? Give me the real. Tell me the truth. Yeah, Garrett Riley, I talked to him after the game, and it was a call that I wasn't really sure on, but I let him call it. It's something we got to discuss a little bit more in depth next time, right? You don't allow that play call to be the play call that helps ruin, it helps you lose a game what you should have won if you had a real kicker on the team. But let's continue, right? To say, we're not entitled to the ACC. And again, I'm a realist. I'm going to tell you guys, don't jump ship. Don't be pissed off. Like, be upset that you lose, that you lost a close game, but you move on. Because if anybody tells you your team's not good, they're just a hater and a liar. Because clearly your team is good enough to go toe to toe and go, punch for punch, right? Body blow, left hook for left hook, all those things. You go swing for swing with a supposed juggernaut in college football. So you did that. So no, your team is good, and your team should have won. Hence the comment about having a real kicker on the team. But this is where it comes back to we're not entitled. Like I said, being a realist is fine, but you can have that mentality. Like, this is our conference. This is our league. Take some pride in that. You've been the top dog or the top cat, the top tiger for years now. That's how you should coach. That's how Saban coaches. That's how Kirby coaches, right? That's how these guys coach. They coach with that intensity to where their players go out and know this means everything today. And they played like, don't get me wrong, the players played like it, but still, that's how you go about this. We're not entitled. And, and I'm not saying this. I said good game to Florida State. Keon Coleman, that catch, man, on Lucas was outstanding. As an NFL draft analyst, I love that. I'm going to talk about that for months. As a Clemson, as somebody that represents this podcast and talks and wants to see Clemson do well, yeah, no, I don't like to see it. I'm between a rock and a hard stone, right? Because I get paid for both. I'm just being honest. It's both of my jobs. But I respect what he did, but I hated to see it. because I knew, I was like, as soon as the ball left his hands, I knew that he was throwing it to Keon Coleman. I was like, darn it. And look, man, Keon Coleman made an outstanding play. But still, like, it was just take accountability, right? I take accountability because for me, I don't feel like the players played tight. I felt like the coaches called the game tight. Hence, the fact that, you know, Garrett Riley kept going to the same plays over and over at times and making a bonehead decision with that screenplay on 3rd and 1, 3rd and inches. I'm telling you, no, there is not a single offensive coordinator in the league, in the NFL, that would have made that call. They were like, nope. If anything, if you just feel like Will Shipley is not strong enough to get that run, which I don't know why you would feel that way, but if you did, you have a 6'1", 230-pound NFL size running back in Phil Maffa. That's what he does. You can go straight pistol. You can have him at kind of offset shotgun where he's like a yard behind Cade, right? A yard or two, and he gets that kind of running start. I would have put him in the pistol for sure. Right, give him that running start, put the ball right into the pocket, right into the pocket there, and let him charge and let him run over our offensive lineman and fall forward for 2 to 3 yards, not just the inches. He probably would have got 2 to 3 if he ran. There's no way. They called the game tight. So if you play with intensity, if you coach with intensity, when you believe with that intensity, that level of intensity, you don't we're not entitled to the ACC every year. Nobody wants to hear that, Dabo. No one, right? No one wants to hear that nonsense, man. No one. Not me, not the fans. No one wants to hear. The players don't want to hear that. No one wants to hear that you're not entitled. You should have that entitlement. Not from a negative standpoint, right? Not that somebody who feels like I'm entitled to something because, you know, I think I'm better than you or anything. Not from a negative standpoint. You should feel that we are entitled because we have won this thing year after year after year. We have been the creme de la creme. We've been the top of the mountain. We should take pride in this and feel that entitlement and say, if you are going to take it, we're not going to lose it, you're going to have to take it from us. That's how that should have been. But we're not entitled. We're not entitled. We're not entitled. It frustrates the life out of me. I don't like the energy after this. I just don't. Okay. I don't like the energy after it all. And it's just, to me, this whole get the end of that game, the post game stuff, because that's what we talk about in this pod, right? We therapy session. We're getting through it, right? And then we're going to move on to silver linings, stock up, stock down, the stock report for players and everything else for tomorrow's episode. I'm going to have that for you guys tomorrow. So tap in, because I like some of the stuff I saw on tape from multiple people. So we're going to get into that. But yeah, man, I just don't like how this sounds, how this looks, how this feels. From this team, from the coaching staff. I just don't. Like I said, well, I'm gonna tell you what it reminds me of. If anybody's a basketball fan that's watching and listening to this, remember when LeBron James went to Miami and Dwayne Wade would sit with him during interviews, right? Kind of protecting them from the media and all the backlash, especially early on. And after a while, LeBron was fine. But just after the decision and the backlash he took, and he was trying to play like a villain and all that stuff, Dwayne Wade was sitting with him, kind of helping him out like a big brother, helping him through the whole situation, right? That's what this feels like. Like, instead of letting LeBron James take his lumps and be a man and grow up quickly, it's the same thing with Dabo. Instead of letting Garrett Riley deal, hey, I messed up. Instead of that, I supported them. It was a good call. I liked the call for what we saw, the defensive coverage. They were blitzing. You made all these excuses and reasons to run that stupid play, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense, because even on the film, over on tape, I did not look at that as, yeah, this was a right call. I just truly don't. But guys, let's get into it. He's talking about not making the right call. The kicking situation. There's no true veteran kicker on this team that we can put our faith and trust in. Okay, but Dabo Swinney sticking with the kicker that he brought in from a Wall Street job or whatever this young man was doing prior to, who hadn't kicked the football since April. So we're going to get into that and why this is also a troublesome thing and concerning next on the Locked On Clemson Podcast. Now, time for your game changer of the week, brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company. Much like cornerback Nate Wiggins, Athletic Brewing Company has completely changed the non-alcoholic beer game. They make non-alcoholic beers that actually taste good. I chose Nate Wiggins as the game changer of the week because this young man played a great game against Florida State, made outstanding plays in coverage, and was very difficult for them to complete passes against. Listen, Athletic Brews, their brews are great tasting and award-winning, and they've beaten out full-strength beers in global competitions. They brew over 50 styles of craft, non-alcoholic beers, including IPAs, Goldens, sours, and so much more, guys. So much more. Listen, they're fast-growing, non-alcoholic brewery in the U.S., so get on board with it. They're the fastest growing. You hear me? The fastest. So, again, get on board and check it out, guys. So, you can find Athletic Brewery Company's non-alcoholic brews at the store near you or buy online at athleticbrewing.com. First-time customers can use a promo code LOCKEDON15 to get 15% off your online order. Let's bring this thing home, guys. I promise you this is the last negative thing we're going to talk about here because we're going to get into more positivity on tomorrow's show, right, with the stock up, stock down. But, guys, let's talk about it, right? He is head coach Dabo Swinney asked regarding Matt White's being the place kicker moving forward. This is his response. And quote, yeah, he'll still be our guy. He didn't do anything today he didn't do anything today. Two, again, he wasn't perfect, but nobody was. He gave us a chance. We got to be better. We have to be better. We had a lot of opportunities to win that game. And then he goes on, when he talked about the missed field goal, we expect him to make it. He expects to make it. He made one earlier in the game that gave us an opportunity. He made all his extra points and did some good things for us. Again, he wasn't perfect, but I didn't see anybody perfect. Again, with the fluff and all that stuff. Yes, Matt White's did make his extra points. He did make the 30-yarder early in the game and everything. So you walked up feeling, if you're the coach staff, I get that you felt confident in him. But I'm gonna tell you something, guys. When he walked up to make that kick, I was like, I just felt it in my bones he was gonna miss. I was like, you got the commentary team talking about this is if Hollywood couldn't have written it better, and then the other commentator said, well, the writers are on strike. So it wasn't the Hollywood ending. Then Dabo pregame talking about it was either going to go really good or really bad, and I don't want to say it went either way, right? It didn't go really well. It wasn't really bad. What it was the ending was bad, right? Because you have a 29-yard chip shot. It's easy money. And you shank this thing to the left, right? And it's like, how? So it's like, for me, I want to know the process going forward. Like, these guys need to be kicking like all day. You know what I mean? All day. Him and Robert Gunn got demoted, and this young man came in and did the exact same thing in a big time moment. I said this last week. Kicking was a concern. And the fact that you don't have veteran kickers, the fact that you don't have anyone better than a guy that was taking online classes for you and living in New York and supposedly working for Wall Street or going to be working for Wall Street, whatever he was doing, like, shout out to him for coming back and playing ball. But no, like, that to me, it just didn't even sound right. Because while he made the kick early in the game, that wasn't a pressure kick. This was a game-winning kick for you, because your defense more than likely could have gotten that stop. So again, like, because Florida State would have driven the entire field to then score, right? When they tried the last possession in the fourth quarter for them, when they tried to go the entire field to set score, they, had to turn over on downs. They couldn't convert, right? They converted. Yeah, you're throwing from like the 30-yard line, 25, 30-yard line, because you are given that because of the overtime rules. Cool. But I think at the end of the day, for me, guys, when I look at this thing, I just look at it from an aspect of, I'm not saying go back to Robert Gunn. I'm fine with him keeping the kicker, but like, you got to understand it and take some onus on that. You cannot say you expect a guy who has not kicked a football since April, had 1 week of practice, or not even a full week, a couple of days of practice, to then put him in a pressured moment. Like, what do you mean you expect him to make that kick? The expectations are too lofty. I didn't expect him to make that kick. You want him to make a 29-yarder because that's not like the ball's not directly in the middle, but it's more so in the middle. Like it's a little more middle right? There's no reason for you to curve that kick all the way that wide to the left. If anything, you curve it a little bit just to get it down, get it away from the right bar upright. Fine. But again, just the poor decision, that there's all this fluff and trying to be overly positive, and I got everybody's back. I'm not saying you throw anybody under the bus, but as you said in the pregame, this could go really good or really bad. You had that same type of energy after the game. Listen, he did some good things. It was a tough situation to put him in. Because what you're doing is taking onus because you put him there. You put him in that situation. You put this young man in a pressure kick situation and expected him to hit it to win the game when your season is on the line, right? In terms of being in the ACC championship, all that. And it's still a possibility. We'll get into that or whatever. But yeah, no. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. I cannot. So let's listen. At the end of the day, him sticking with the kicker, I don't have a problem with that. These post game comments, I don't like. I don't like the energy of them. I don't like the overly positive stuff. And just stop it. Stop it. You know what I mean? Stop it. It just don't feel real. It doesn't feel real to me, man. I don't want to hear that. So, but guys, that's our show, man. Like I said, I want to flush out the negative energy, flush out the negative juices after this reaction. Like I said, we're gonna have more stock up, stock down, because stock up and stuff tomorrow. There's a couple players that I say stock up and they need more playing time. Guys, I really like what I saw from them on film. So we're gonna get into that, guys. And like I said, support the Patreon. It'll be in the bio and everything. I'm gonna have that final play broken down, as well as some Nate Wiggins tape. Maybe a K Clubnet breakdown, a couple plays, stuff like that. So there's some good stuff to take away from this. And we're going to talk about some of that tomorrow. And then, like I said, it'll be on the Patreon. So go support that. But guys, like I said, that's our show. We talk about sticking with the kicker, conceding the ACC, Dabo backing the terrible call that cost us to lose this game on Saturday. But guys, thank you all so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every day. Thank you so much for being my everydayers. Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Okay, on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment for the algorithm. Talk to me because I do talk back. Let's get this channel up to 1,000 subscribers, guys. Hit the bell notification so you're notified anytime I drop content on the channel. Follow me on Twitter. Follow is right there for those watching on YouTube. Follow on Twitter, DP_NFL. Follow the Clemson Twitter page, LO_Clemson for Locked On Clemson. Follow that as well, guys. But listen, come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Go Tigers.